Hey, I'm Vishal Krishna, the founder and editor of the upstreamlife.com. I love fancy things. I love driving cars. I love connected experiences. I love software in cars. And believe me, I'm a junkie there when it comes to software. But building all those behind the scenes and making sure that I drive safe and that I enjoy these experiences in a very responsible manner is a company called Continental. And I have its president and CEO of the India business, Mr. Prashanth. How are you?
Thank you so much, Vishal. Truly pleasure to be here in the studio today. And thank you for your time. And I'll be looking forward. And some of the things what you said, I'm equally passionate about Formula One.
You are?
And also
you
about
Formula One,
yes.
I didn't know.
I love anything speed. So
no wonder you're in the right profession, sir. So why don't you tell our audience watching what does Continental India do and what does Continental do globally?
Sure, sir. Continental is 152 years German, headquartered in Hanover. We are into three sectors, basically. One, automotive. The second, tires, which most of you are aware of. That includes passenger car tires, truck tires, bicycle tires. And the third one is a sector called Contitech, which are most into material solutions for both automotive and non-automotive. Talking about automotive piece, we have 5 distinct business areas. Number one, what we call as safety and motion. Anything to do with the safety aspects of the car, be it be ABS, be it be electronic stability control, be it be active, passive sensorics, airbag control units. All these are made under this business area called SAM. And the second one, what we call as user experience. When you sit inside the car, you see the big displays. That's the user experience we talk about. That's the user experience. The third, what we call as autonomous mobility. As the name itself talks about, we are into autonomous driving solutions, both for passenger car as well as two-wheeler solutions, which includes assisted, automated, and autonomous functions.
So that's amazing. That's so many years of legacy. Guys, I'm telling you, you have to discover this interview. It's 150 years of legacy, automotive. And if you really want to build cars of the future, you're listening to the right interview. Their tagline is called Future in Motion. So go discover this interview. By the way, I have to call out my sponsors. It's finverse.guru. You want to own a car, you got to understand finances. So go download the app finverse.guru, understand how you can save money, how you can plan your taxes, and go enjoy that ride. And you can see Continental building the solutions behind the scenes for your safety. Thank you so much. Prashanth, it's wonderful to meet somebody from Continental India, and I've been a fan of the company for years now. I think people watching this will be fascinated with how the car is evolving. It's all about technology, software, and much more, safety also. As President and CEO, what are your roles in India with Continental?
Vishal, first of all, thank you so much for having me here in your studio. And it's really a pleasure to be talking here today. As a President and CEO of Continental India, my responsibilities includes all the 3 sectors. You know, the way Conti is structured. One, we have automotive. The other is tires. Third one is Contitech. And we have about 10,000 plus employees spread across India. And we supply almost every single OEM. Be it be two-wheeler or be it be passenger cars.
So you oversee all this?
Absolutely.
Including the manufacturing plants?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's a phenomenal role. And I want quickly tell a little bit about yourself. You're an engineer from Bangalore?
Basically a mechanical engineer with a post-graduation in advanced manufacturing engineering. I started my career with the same company way back in 1992. At that point of time, it used to be called VDO. Video, then it became Siemens Video, and Continental took over this company in 2008, if I'm not wrong, and it became part of Continental. By that time, I had left. Then I moved on to another professional opportunity within Tata Group. Then in 2017, I came back to Continental as a CEO of President and CEO of Continental India.
And you know, in those 30 years that you talk about, so much has changed.
Absolutely.
Continental itself has a 150-year-old legacy. And you want me to ask you these questions. I'm keen to ask you these questions simply for these reasons. One is you come from a legacy that's 150 years old. What does that legacy mean to you, if you can start there?
Sure.
Then we'll talk about how automotive has changed in those ones.
Sure. Continental, 152 years old company. We celebrated 2 years back, 150 years. You can count how many companies who are more than 100 years existing in this world. So that we are very privileged and proud of this legacy, what we come with. And Continental started as a rubber product. Yeah, the first product was horse hoovers, and then migrated to hoses and then tires. And mostly Continental is known as a tire company, but we do many things on the automotive side, which is mostly the advanced technologies what you find in today's cars.
It's interesting when you said, it started horses, carriages, and then tires.
Yeah.
Most of them would know Continental as tires, but it's so much more, like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
It's all technology.
Absolutely.
And you said 3 functions, right? There are 3 main business units.
Yeah.
If you can reiterate them again,
Sure.
so that let people understand that this is a proper technology company.
Sure. The way we are structured, by the way, Continental is one of the top 5 biggest auto component manufacturers globally. The way we are structured, headquartered in Hanover, is 3 group sectors. One is automotive. The second one is tires, where we make passenger car, commercial vehicle tires, bicycle tires. And the third is Contintech, which is more of a material solutions, which goes into both automotive and non-automotive. Material solution.
What do you mean by that?
For example, if I have to talk about car seating today, there are many. Today, the consumer wants more of leather seats.
Correct.
But we all know that leather is not a sustainable product, which adds to a lot of carbon emissions. So we have a product which is equivalent or even more superior than leather. Today, what you find in most of the advanced or the luxury cars, it's not actually leather. That's a product from our surface solution, which is going into this, which are really sustainable and
truly
the
deep
products.
Tech. I think
Absolutely.
Continental is a deep tech company.
Absolutely. On the other side, Contintech, automotive, if I talk about, we are into connected, autonomous, convenient, and safety solutions. If you look at the car, the way it has evolved, if you ask me, even till 2005, cars used to be purely mechanical products, right? You could find only metal, rubber, plastic, little bit here and there wiring harnesses. Slowly, we started adding electronics to that. With that electronics, they came in a software. Today, the content of software in a car, if I had to give a comparison, it's about 200 million lines of code. So what does it mean for a
200 million lines of code to run a car?
F-35 aircraft has got about 50 million lines of code. You can understand the complexity. Facebook has about 65 million lines of code. So car is even more complex today.
I'm glad you raised that, because you were telling me earlier that people think phones are complicated.
Absolutely.
But it's not.
Which is not. If I had to give a comparison, today if you talk about iPhone 15, it has one display, it has got one processor, maybe 4 sensors. It may weigh about 200 grams, but it doesn't travel.
Yes.
If the software is faulty, as an end consumer, it's just an irritation. If I have to give that comparison to today's advanced car, it has got 4 displays, it has got 4 operating systems, it has hundreds of processors, hundreds of sensors, weight more than 2 tons, travels at a speed of 200 plus kilometer. If the software is faulty, it can be fatal. So that's the difference we are talking about. So the technologies, to bring these technologies which are in the adjacent markets, many of us think it's very easy, but when it comes to car, there's a safety is involved. Safety knows what. That's the biggest challenge the industry need to ensure that before you launch a car, that you need to ensure there are 0 defects and it operates with 100% efficiency. And also at the same time, you see with the software content increasing, there's a lot of competition which is coming from the likes of software companies like Apple or Google, like Waymo, lot of startups. For example, our own Ola, who started as an aggregator, then now we started to make 2-wheelers. Now he's working on a passenger car. So what makes others to think? They all feel the competition, the software content is so high, they are good at software and they can too launch a car. Whereas we as a who've been in this industry for last 100 plus years, conventional companies, we are very good at design, speccing, validation, and we come from a philosophy that unless everything is 100% perfect, we don't launch a car. The philosophy in a software is, you launch, then fix it over the air.
Yeah, you can't do that in a car.
Absolutely. I think that cross-learnings has to happen with both the companies. That's where I'm sure as an industry will get benefited. That's my...
Your tagline is future in motion.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And the future is in motion, and we have to talk about, and I'm glad you said software is not everything. It's everything other than software. It's safety.
Absolutely.
It's how passengers interact. It's passenger data. Now data is
absolutely.
a big thing.
That's cybersecurity.
And cybersecurity.
It has to be secured.
Regulations.
Absolutely.
Right? And you need to have foolproof vehicles that do not collapse under high heat, or even if there's weather changes to minus 20 degrees or something. You want cars to stay strong, cars and bikes. So let's talk about that. You briefly talked about mechanical things going a little electronic. When I look at software in a car, you said 4 operating systems. I remember the early years of covering automotive. We used to talk about some open source components coming into the car. Even BlackBerry was playing a role in the car, right? They were trying to create some operating system. And then we had these OBD ports, which was the data, which is a very closed ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And then that changed.
Yeah.
Everybody said, okay, can this OBD port now give data to multiple partners? Let's start there. Let's begin on the evolution of software defined became everything in a car. And then we'll add in the points: security, trust,
absolutely,
then regulation, the impact of AI in that order, and what it is today and tomorrow.
Sure. I told you, so car earlier used to be mechanical, then we started electronics. So if you look at today's car, it's a distributed architecture, what we call. Every function in a car is managed by so-called ECU, embedded control unit, or electronic control unit, be it be engine ECU, be it be transmission ECU, be it door control modules, lighting ECU, body control So today's car has about 80 to 100 ECUs, but all distributed. This comes with its own challenges if you want to make cars, if you want to updatable.
Intelligent.
Absolutely. So it's moving from distributed architecture to a consolidated architecture where we find what we call as HPCs, high performance computing. So for each of the domains, one HPC for interior, one HPC for body control, one HPC for powertrain, one HPC for chassis, and another HPC for what you call autonomous mobility. These 5 high-performing computers controls the entire car. The way it's moving towards, maybe in few years, is going to be one single computer controlling the entire function of the car through an operating system, what we call as a middleware. Middleware.
Absolutely, I agree.
Middleware.
So there is going to be one, it's going to a centralized system.
Absolutely.
So today there are HPCs, there's 5 HPCs within the car. But do they interact with each other at all?
Yes, absolutely. They interact with the outside world also. That's why you make it possible for an OTA, over-the-air updates, over-the-air updates. When you have this function, then the cybersecurity comes in. Then there's a lot many care which needs to be taken to ensure that the vehicle which you are in is protected. So
these HPCs are now going to the centralized route, you were saying.
In another 3-4 years, it could be moving towards centralized. And also cars will be running in an operating system, something like our mobile phones, for example. Today, in mobile phone, you see iOS, Android. You used to have BlackBerry, then Microsoft had an operating system. For example, if I talked about Android, but it has multiple models. You name it, you have the model, right? Everybody operates on the Android, but they have a differentiation for the product. Similarly, cars one day will move towards one. Maybe you might see Continental operating system, Continental operating system, Volkswagen operating system. So everyone will have an operating system which runs the entire.
I like how you're painting the picture with the ecosystem. I've been writing about the cloudification of cars. Let's talk. Is there an impact of the cloud being felt in the car?
Oh, certainly, yes. That's number one. That's why we are moving towards what we call as a software-defined vehicle. Today, the biggest challenge in the industry is this development. I'm talking about HPC. It's a huge development cost and also it requires time, which are not updatable.
So therefore you talk about nodes.
No, absolutely.
Wow.
So we are moving towards what we call the differentiated middleware, because topware, bottomware can't be bought from upper and lower can be got from outside.
You want to explain this top middleware.
So middleware is the differentiator, which is going to be differentiating. So with that, your ability to carry over this across platform increases. So what are the advantages of software-defined vehicle? Today, one of the biggest challenge for industry is also there's a lot of effort and the resources spent in development of this, and you have a limited capability to carry over on multiple programs or multiple customers. So every program or every platform is a new development. So it's very expensive. With software-defined vehicle, your ability to carry over, that's number one.
So it's templatized?
Your development time comes maybe maximum 2 years for a new platform, maybe 1 year for a new program updation. Number two, today if you see the relationship with the customer for OEs ends at the point of sale, and they have external relation for the service or spare parts.
Customer service, yes.
But with software-defined vehicle, it will enable you to have the business during its entire life cycle, because everything is in the cloud. You can sell functions based on the
customer is
absolutely,
yes.
Absolutely. So that's one. Third is you are using cloud to validate. Today, the conventional ways you validate everything and then upload. But parallelly, can you do what we call as road to cloud in one day? So you put it in the cloud, can testing happen in the cloud, and once done, it's
launched.
It's flashed onto the vehicle on the ROM. So that's another this thing. So these are some of the certainly reduction in total development cost. So there's a huge advantage is this thing. We need to master that. Do we have solution? That's why there's a biggest challenge which industry is working towards as we move towards the software-defined vehicle.
That standardization will happen from the OEs themselves, or are they open to working with partners in this?
Oh, they're working with us. Yes. So we are the solution providers for this as they work.
It's very interesting. So they are okay with anything that helps them retain the customer.
And also grow the business during its entire life cycle.
Perhaps then we have to talk about how their business is changing. So they are becoming experience company beyond just the hardware.
Absolutely. So if you look at the customer at the center, and if I look at the value chain, we have enablers like the chip makers who gives us chip. We are realizers who take the chip, make a product,
and give it a brain.
And and we give that to customer.
Yes.
Customer puts it in a car, and he has to orchestrate with the outside world. That we enable him to orchestrate that with the outside world. That's why I said cars are becoming an extended IoT device. So they have to orchestrate. Examples. You have heard of Visa, right?
Yes.
Visa isn't a fintech company.
Yes.
Can you imagine the amount of investments which they have done in automotive?
I wouldn't have imagined it, perhaps because people are buying as they drive.
So if the Mercedes-Benz customers in UK and Europe, today you can do the financial transaction
while driving,
sitting inside the car safely through Visa.
Wow.
So
they're all becoming
absolutely
multiple partnerships.
Absolutely. So
wow, this has just gone beyond technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, the cloud is important. Now let's hit upon security. A lot of people watching this will say, oh, then what about security? Let's put that to bed quickly. I think everything is secure.
Certainly,
right?
yes,
certainly. And you want to explain the security protocols?
So we do have a lot of standards. We do a lot of validation, including the penetration tests. So we have to ensure that always the cars are secured because now there are a lot of these third-party elements. It's absolutely
third-party elements, but they will all probably be in control. Will there be a Continental cloud, for example?
Yeah, we have partnered with AWS, what we call as Edge, Continental Edge. That's the cloud we have in collaboration with the AWS. So we started working on that cloud solutions.
So it's interesting. Just a case in point, as an example to young people watching this, maybe they are builders or software builders or people who launch apps.
Yeah.
Let's for all purpose sake, they'll launch something on Android and Apple, and then it comes, and then I as a driver or a owner of the car subscribe to that app. It has to pass your test, right?
Oh, certainly. That's why we get the requirements from with the orchestration part of it lies with the OEM. So then they give us the requirements with all the service provider, the outside service provider, what are the softwares and the apps which needs to be integrated. That goes to that stringent test we have to integrate into our product because there's a lot of safety is very much involved there.
Okay, we talked storage. We talked about the power of compute. We're talking about the power of experience. We talked about security, but now what is even more important in a car is perhaps because you covered multiple things, the hardware.
Yeah,
the materials are changing, and the materials are no longer. I think there are a lot of alloys, a lot of mixes, and that's a science itself.
Absolutely. That's why sustainability is coming into mainstream today. Unfortunately, automotive market contributes nearly 16% to the world emissions. So that's big. So that's why all of us have taken a pledge by when we will become carbon neutral. So as a Continental, we were the first. Way back in 2019, we came with the audacious goal, coming said by 2040, across all our operations will be carbon neutral, and 2050 we will be carbon neutral across the value chain. What does it mean? From suppliers to us operations to the product and its usage in the life cycle and its recyclability. That's the entire value chain what I'm talking about. The second pledge we took is by 2050 we'll have recycled process 95% of our where in the plant waste will be recycled. What we call circular economy. So with this, the third is all our products will contribute to zero tailpipe emissions. And the fourth is also part of what we call as a responsible value chain. So we'll ensure from the people aspects also and the processes and the ethics followed in the value chain is a world-class standard. So these are the four sustainable goals what we have taken. We are working towards that. I can proudly say Bangalore facility is one of the 2 facilities globally within the continental world to be awarded with a gold award, what we call as a green plant. So we have gone, the amount of usage of electricity is 98% is green. Yeah, solar. Absolutely.
I mean, this is so interesting. Now you talk sustainability also. We talked software, right? Software, this is all data. All this is data that you're talking about. How does AI play a picture in all this? We went from machine learning, big data to machine learning.
Absolutely.
We have LLM, we have NLPs.
Absolutely.
And then we have all those going to chatbots and experiences. Now it's moved to generative AI. So where is that in this entire thing? Is that something that people are using this term as a marketing thing nowadays? But it's real.
No, it's real.
And how real is it?
It's inbuilt into every single product, our algorithms, which will learn over a period of time.
So the more from usage, sustainability to customer experience, everywhere. It's everywhere.
Absolutely. For example, if I have to talk about the autonomous function, assisted function, some of the, for example, emergency brake. In India, you know the challenges which you come across, right? Usage of EBA on Indian roads will always be challenging.
Correct.
You may avoid hitting at somebody at the front, but somebody from the back can hit you if there's a sudden thing. So how do you ensure that over a period of time, the car also learns about the traffic and modifies a little bit here and there to ensure that you don't have this thing. So this is just one example.
It's interesting. So cloud to node, edge is making decisions on
the
edge. And it's doing that.
Absolutely. What we call sense, plan, act. What is the sensing?
Sensing, sense, plan, act.
Okay. Sensing could be cameras. Sensing could be radar, lidar, ultrasonic sensor. It could be anything. First, it senses. Then once it senses, it gives an information to ECU or your ADCU or whatever the control unit. The control unit processes the information in a fraction of a second and gives the message to what we call the actuation. Brake is an actuation. For example, if I have to talk about emergency brake assist, radar or camera is captured. You have not reacted. It all happens in a milliseconds. Your action is slower. Even before that car recognizes that the accident is inevitable. So immediately it gives
warnings
to the information to the ECU. ECU does the calculation, then gives the information to actuation, that is brake, and brake even before you realize it has applied on its own. So that's an example like how it operates.
Systems already in?
Yes, very much.
In high-end cars?
Yes.
Okay. I want you, because of your vast experience, talk about how connectivity part may play a role in low-end cars. Say, let's look at the 8 lakh to 16 lakh segment.
Yeah.
Then 16 to 30 lakh, the mid or 35 lakh market. And from there on, I think the expensive cars. Customers can still access connectivity at the lower end.
Yes.
And what type of these services? They'll have access to safety, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But how will that evolve?
Okay. So
you said it will be software as a service. That means I can also have expensive services in a low-end car if I want it.
Absolutely. That's the future which is going to be. Absolutely.
It can be like that.
It can be like that. So if I have to talk about India market, automotive market, we were lagging behind. Unfortunately, today globally we have about 1.45 million deaths, fatalities, of which about 150,000 happens in India, which contribute 10% of the global fatalities, which is not a good news. I think government has done a fantastic job in bridging this gap over last 5-6 years in bridging the regulation with regard to the safety. I think there we are very well placed. Then the second change which came was in terms of reducing the emissions, moving from Euro 4 to Euro 6, and we are talking about CAFE norms, and also parallelly we are working on electrification. How do we ensure? So this one, electrification, is a revolutionary in nature from my perspective, and it's not by consumer demand, mind you. This is forced on us by governments and regulations.
Yes.
Whereas connectivity features, convenient features are more consumer driven and they are evolutionary in nature.
Right.
That's where now you see a lot of uptick in connected features.
Correct.
Because we use car as a third living room.
It's a living room actually.
We started experiencing comfort at home. We started experiencing a lot of benefit, comfort at offices. Then we see this is my third living room, extension. I spent so much of time. I want my car to be a really extended an IoT device. So I should be able to be continuously connected with the outside world. That's why you see there are a lot of connectivity features which are coming into car. So one such feature is certainly the displays and the connectivity features what you have inside that. If you see earlier the instrument clusters used to be small, which is mechanical, purely mechanical. Then it became little analog. You had a small display, still mechanically run, but a display. Today you got TFT displays which are programmable, and also globally if you see the trend has moved what we call a pillar-to-pillar display, and it's one for the width of the meter, this thing. So when you do that, at the same time, safety is also important. So how do you create that so that driver distractions are avoided when a co-passenger is watching? Absolutely. So that's the way displays with the connectivity features are moving towards.
It's funny. So as a customer, I can choose that I want my data encrypted in the car. That kind of service
could be in the future. Yes,
I want to share my data with Continental for Continental to give its services to me. I can.
So today every function sits inside the car. It's from ECU, whatever it is. Tomorrow, some of the functions may lie in cloud.
Okay. Because
some functions we don't use it in a regular basis. Then the question is, why should I pay upfront? So tomorrow may not be safety function because redundancy and safety is involved, but some of the convenient functions. Tomorrow, okay, I use once in 1 week when I go out for a vacation, then I can subscribe to that, you pay on usage. So that's also another possibility from the cloud, which you can.
We've talked so much, again, covering customer lifecycle, sustainability. We briefly talked about AI. I want you to go deeper into it. You said it's everywhere, whether you like it or not. There's generative AI. What's the impact? Is it impacting the businesses positively, negatively? There's a lot of press out there. A lot of engineers say that, should I study it? There may be a younger audience watching this, maybe an engineer watching this at Continental. maybe there's somebody globally watching this. So what's your advice to people who are in direct contact with AI now?
Sure. I think the future is going to be AI, and mobility is not an exception. I think we have to make products more and more smarter, and its ability to learn and implement on the go. That's the biggest advantage what we have. So most of the products, as I said, are algorithms fitted, which has deep learning, and it keeps learning as the usage, and it assists you and tunes according to your driving conditions, and also according to your mood. For example, if the mood lighting, it has to switch on. It detects, AI helps in detecting your mood, and accordingly, it could be music or it could be lighting inside the car, which changes. So there is a huge application of AI. I think that's going to, at the end of the day, consumer is going to get benefited certainly out of it.
It's interesting. So they have to learn it. They have to learn it. Would you say learn mathematical fundamentals, and statistics and linear algebra?
Absolutely.
If that is strong, you can move everywhere.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So that's the basis.
That's the basis.
So computer languages will change.
Absolutely.
But if you have foundational knowledge of math, is good.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I thought it will be that's interesting you say that. So, you talk about boilerplate code. All these engineers. Is it good to leave code? I mean, building code to AI.
It's going to lead towards automation.
Okay.
I think a lot of coding today, which is being manually done. The question is being asked is it worth to spend so much of resources building this code? I think already we have done a lot of testings automated, which otherwise earlier used to be done by this thing. And I think future it's going to get automated.
It is important.
Absolutely, it's important. You become much more efficient. Use this resource for something else, for a better job, actually.
So your engineers can get more creative.
Absolutely.
And spend time on customer experience.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are the customers demanding the AI side of it?
Yes, very much. Very much. Yeah.
Okay. Then would generative AI even come into cars?
Yes, recently in IIM Munich, we announced our partnership with Google, which will be getting the products which is applied with AI solutions for our displays on the interior solutions.
So it can be voice, text,
absolutely,
everything.
Absolutely.
Wow, it's a very bright future.
Absolutely.
So the number you gave me, I mean, I remember when I was in Hanover a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and the number quoted there was that the automotive software opportunity could be 1 trillion. But you're saying it could be more.
It could be more. 2020, if I remember correctly, the size of the automotive market was about 2.75 trillion.
Okay.
Complete. Okay. Out of which 2.5 was pure mechanical, this thing. And about 300 billion was about software, and about 30 billion was software as a service. McKinsey's projection for 2030, 2.75 is going to grow up to 5.4 trillion.
And software.
And can you imagine where it's coming from? This software, which used to be 300 billion, will go up to 1.5 trillion.
Okay.
And software as a service will go up to 300 billion. So that's how it's. So there's a huge opportunity. The content of with more electronics, more software. That's why we call today software-defined vehicles. So most of the functions are moving towards software.
Which is interesting. Then the engineers from Continental India and Continental Global, for them it's great news to be working on
absolutely. We have about 40,000 R&D engineers working on new products. And India is one of the biggest tech centers we have. We have about 5,000 plus engineers working on most advanced technology, be it on the autonomous mobility side, or be it in the architecture and networking side, or be it in the user experience when you sit inside, what you feel, see, be it on the safety side, active, passive safety systems, or be it in the smart mobility side, how do you connect the services part of it, the tolling services, so all this. So everything is being done out of Bangalore for the world, and we are responsible for complete Asia region, including Japanese and
Southeast Asia
OEMs, and also we do a lot of core development work for because today's products are getting so complex. It's very difficult to one center to work on everything. So we have established Center of Excellences. One such certainly is we are the lead designers for example, autonomous mobility for radar. We have the complete platform responsibility, core development responsibilities. Or when you talk about two-wheelers, ABS, India is the home for two-wheelers, and we have the core development responsibility for single-channel ABS.
So every component is software-defined today then?
Absolutely.
Wow, this is. I mean, I think engineers watching this, if they have, where do they have to begin? Again, going back, fundamentals, simple. Just stay true to your fundamentals.
Yeah.
You can come from a mechanical background.
Absolutely.
But if your foundational math is good,
you can migrate to any of this.
It's such an interesting word. Are we seeing? Because my next question is, I'm moving to Industrial 4.0, of course. Are you seeing the remaking of the world where you don't need a mechanical engineering or an AI degree or a civil engineering degree or an electronics degree or a telecommunications degree? It sounds like everything is merged.
I think the lines are blurred already.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So how do you prepare as a young engineer out there who wants to be with Continental?
So we work with universities because that's another big challenge in India. So we have university programs where we engage with universities in terms of defining the curriculum. Today, if you take as a fresh engineers, when they come to our office, they are not ready. We used to spend nearly about 6 months in training them, and only then they will be put into
real work.
Development work. But that's too long a period. So what we said, we have signed an MOU with a couple of universities where we are defining the curriculum in the 7th and 8th semester and 6th, 5th semester, where we can influence. So when they come out, if not 100%, at least to an extent possible, they are ready. Now we are also discussing with a couple of universities to introduce the entire curricula for 8th semester so that it fits our requirements. Yeah, that's where we're working towards.
It's interesting. I mean, students should realize if you talked about the car as your third extension, your living room, to the house, to your, it's a space when you're driving.
Absolutely.
Then they have to think of the experience.
Absolutely.
And then build on that experience.
Absolutely.
So the universities, I'm glad if any professors watching this encourage your students to blur the lines of engineering and focus on building for experience. What does Industry 4.0 mean to you, sir?
Okay, so if I have to put a very simple definition of Industry 4.0, it's industrial revolution, right? Yes. The first we had in 1900, then during Second World steam engine came up. Third was when automation started to build, and today, till yesterday we used to call cash is king. Yes. Today data is the king. So Industry 4.0 is nothing but getting the visibility of the material flow in your system.
Got it.
If you are able to get that, then you can control everything.
From supply chain
Absolutely.
To product.
So today in any company, you have a lot of KPIs you review at the end of the month, but it's all post. It's happened.
Yeah.
So then you infer this could be the reason, this could be the reason. Then you take action for an event which has already happened.
So it's not just limited to the plant. Industry 4.0 is everything.
It's complete value chain. So if you have the data well in advance, and if you can make use of this data, the way it works is, first is every equipment used needs to be connected. All these equipments are connected to a central server.
Yeah.
So it keeps inputting all the data. Then we have established our own algorithms. They do the complete analysis of the algorithm and throws you out a predictive or a prescriptive solution even before incident happens. Okay. For example, there's going to be a rejection in after a few minutes, this thing. So it can give you that data, use it, and it can rely on your handheld phones or your watch or this thing. So you know that this incident is going to happen. Can I hack before that so that you can prevent that?
So the industrial work of tomorrow is intelligent? It's
Absolutely.
Not physical grunt work?
No. It's all technology. So that's all about Industry 4.0. And how do you use the extended use of this data? For example, then we bring in Cobos.
Okay, you want to explain that?
Cobos are collaborative robots. So they are much more intelligent. They can work alongside human beings. if there are any processes in your assembly line which are repetitive in nature, you don't want to use a human being there. You can use human being for some other better work. So you can be replaced with cobots where it can work alongside two human beings safely. Assisted, cobo. So that's another one with this. The other one is use of AR, VR, augmented reality. So today you started using so many technologies in a plant. It is becoming challenge to train every single employee and every single technology. So we use goggles. For some of the technologies, we said, okay, we don't need somebody who's trained fully here. If something goes wrong, he wears the goggle. He pings the person sitting in Germany or US, wherever here. He wears the goggle, connect it. Then it's as if the gentleman's there, he's standing in front of the equipment. And he can solve, he takes the complete control of the, absolutely. He can view, it's a virtual reality, as if he's standing in front of the mission.
I want you to call that out too. Is AR, VR real too?
Yes, absolutely.
For these industrial applications?
Absolutely.
And have you tested?
We are using in our plants. We are using in our plants regularly the
What an interesting space that to talk about now. How do you see this?
Sorry.
Go on, please go on.
This example. In COVID stage, nobody was traveling.
Yes.
And automotive follows a very stringent process of this production part approval process. Customer comes, witnesses, 2 days of production. Nobody was traveling. All this we did with goggles. We gave a pair of goggles to customer and we were using, he's sitting in Delhi or Mumbai or Pune, wherever. He's watching what's happening in the shop floor. It's as if he's physically present there, virtual reality. Second is I talked about for any upgrade. And also during when we were installing new equipments, unfortunately, people couldn't travel. And different parts of the world had different shutdowns. Yeah. So we used this goggles to install this equipments. And the third is for maintenance purpose.
So it's training, maintenance, experience, everything.
Absolutely.
So with all these technologies, how do you see governments playing a role? Do you see, in Germany, when I was there with Continental last time we spoke, the Continental folks also said that there will be regulations around AI. When I say regulations, positive regulations, because they know it will impact a lot of lives positively. How would the system work? Would it be a collaborative ecosystem?
Absolutely. That's very, very important. How do we ethically make use of AI? So just to have this learning, can you imagine all the competitions have come together and 2 years back they formed a foundation called Eclipse Foundation.
Okay. In Germany?
In Germany.
Okay.
Where even the competition as OEMs are all part of this. This is to share and find a solution for some of the problems which industry is facing. So just imagine with this, win-lose equation becomes win-win equation for the industry. Yeah. So there's a lot of activities which is also doing because still we are evolving as far as an AI is concerned. So how do we ensure? Because when we talk about cars, safety is involved. That's safety.
I think that's bottom line. Right? Any technology should be assisted with humans and protect them.
Absolutely.
So everything will be based around that in the end of the day. No, fascinating. You're again long checkered career, 30 years. You've seen technologies change, technologies move. Would you think the future generation leaders they're going to be agile? There's going to be more tools, but sometimes I feel there's so much information. How do you make sense? How do you as a CEO at this generation make that? How do you sit down and say, I'm focused? So much information. How do you stay focused?
If you ask me, maybe till yesterday, we had answers for every problem. When I say yesterday, even before COVID, Today, we don't have answers for all these problems. The technology transformation is so huge. You don't have an answer for everything. You can't expect everyone to have an answer. But as a leader, you can only address by being agile. So that's where the agile leadership is going.
What do you mean by it? What do you mean by it?
So how quickly, how flexibly you react to things, what's happening. That's how you can shape, because you may have a fantastic strategy at the start of the year and in between there's a disruption happens. How your processes allows the strategies to be defined in an agile way so that you can react to what's happening in this thing faster at this thing. So for me, if you ask me,
Tech is enabling faster movement.
Absolutely. So agility becomes the important factor. Adaptability in the agility in this Bani world. Yeah.
That's well said. Okay. As a CEO, you've been saying that CSR is important to you. CSR for me also means research. CSR also means giving to university, which you already spoke about. What is CSR according to Continental?
Okay. We strongly believe we draw so many resources from the surroundings to run an operations, to run an organization. At the end of the day, can we give little back to the society? So that's our fundamental approach.
Okay.
So we strongly believe if the society at large is not healthy, you can't be healthier. So that's the philosophy we come with. So what is that we can give back to society? So we have a CSR arm within our company, and also it is volunteered by many of our employees. So some of the CSR works, what we have done, if I have to talk about one, women for manufacturing. Unfortunately, the participation of women in manufacturing in India is the lowest. It's less than 9%. So we said, what can we do to bring more people participation into the diversity
in high-end manufacturing jobs? Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, including the low-end also.
Okay.
Then we started a program called Women for Manufacturing, where we take people from underprivileged background, we train them, we make them employable. At the end of the day, after this training part, could be in machining, could be in assembly, could be in electronic manufacturing, could be anything. So depending on this, and we ensure that they are free to join Conti, or we will facilitate to get a job near to their hometown or a place.
That is significant.
Thus far, we are able to impact 1,000 families, and we are spread across different parts of India.
And they feed into all your 7 plants?
Yes, and also outside. Not all 1,000 work for Conti because they would prefer to work where their hometown is. So we facilitate, ensure that making them employable. For example, we have a collaboration with the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce. So there are many companies which are spread. When we have people who are trained and certified, we ask them, there's a lot of demand from their side as well, depending on this thing. That's one impact. Second is water conservation. Yeah? So there is a place near to Anekal.
In Bangalore, close to Bangalore.
Close to Bangalore. And it's just, can you imagine, it's 5 kilometers away from Kaveri stream.
Yes.
But unfortunately, this place is suffering from water.
Shortage.
Groundwater level has gone below 1,000 feet, both for domestic as well as for cattle, for agriculture. So then we, along with our partners, we constructed a sort of a dam, which can accommodate about 3 crore liters capacity, which will be useful. At least it will cover about 100 villages, both for domestic as well as for agriculture purpose.
That's fantastic. You know a thing or two of water because you're from Kolar. And Kolar itself had water shortages. Not anymore.
Absolutely.
But in the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Absolutely.
Yes. So interesting.
And also we were thinking, we are the technology company, we should impact something on the technology side at the public at large. So we collaborated. It's an idea which is out in IIT Delhi. This is called what we call as onboard. This equipment facilitates boarding of blind people into the city bus. So we are now in the process of deploying this in our city buses.
In Bangalore?
In Bangalore.
Wow, so this assists blind people?
Absolutely. The way it works is there's a very issue which is mounted onto the bus. Whenever a blind person is standing in the bus stop, whenever the buses come, it gives a voice message giving the number. So he has to select if he's that number, the bus route number which he wants to go. The moment he presses, then the information goes to the driver, and driver knows there is a blind person who is this thing. That's how it assists facilitate boats to board safely onto the bus.
Is it on?
We are working with BMTC to make this at least as a pilot batch, about 500 buses. And this has been tried and tested with best in Bombay. So we are working with that. So this is another example what we are doing on this CSR front. Yeah.
Okay. You're an engineer in your lifetime. Again, has it been a fruitful experience in the world of changes, these CSR activities? How do you find time as CEO? Do you go Obviously, there's a team managing it for you. How do you manage, technology changes? People, of course, are a big part of this. And then finally, CSR, giving back to society.
Absolutely.
How do you find time? How much of your time goes into all these?
I'm a strong believer in learning every day. And those are the days gone where there used to be 23 years of formal learning. Then,
and that's that.
Then 35 years of working and 20 years of retirement. If you want to be updated fully, today's model is 23 years of formal learning and next 40 years of everyday learning if you want to be effective. So that's one. So how do you keep updated yourself in terms of the technological advancements and also looking at the impact what this could have on your business and accordingly having a gameplay. So these are some of the things
which you keep sustainability in mind all the
absolutely time. And also that's another challenge. And also as we speak about sustainability for India, I think that could be a next big advantage. Why do I say this? Globally, still all of us don't know how we are going to address this, but many of us are committed. Sustainability from my perspective can be addressed only through material. I think India as a next way, where India also has a lot of mechanical engineers which could help in finding alternate materials to address
material science studies are going to be big,
sustainability.
Like you mentioned, today's car seats may not be really leather. They may be different materials that are sustainable.
Absolutely.
We've talked so much technology. I want to talk a little bit about yourself before I close the show. What's been the most satisfying element for you? You said continuous learning. Who have you learned from continuously? Has somebody inspired you? Is it your parents, or is it obviously your son, or who teaches you every day, or do you read a lot of books?
First and foremost, the inspiration for me is my mother.
Okay. Is she a teacher? Was she a teacher?
No, she's been an housewife. But when I was growing, what I learned was all about hard work. I think that's what I still continue to. I strongly believe in that hard work, which has really helped me to shape myself as what I am here today. So,
so she's a housewife, but she made you study hard.
Absolutely. And also the value systems which I mapped looking at them, this thing. So she has been a biggest inspiration for me. And second one, I ensure that I spend, of all the busy schedules, at least 2 hours for myself.
What do you do in those 2 hours?
So morning 1 hour, evening 1 hour. So I walk a lot. So that's the time I use to allow the things to come in, absolutely relax. Think through calmly what is the next action which needs to be done. So that 1 hour for myself has been really, really helpful, I would say.
Okay. Well, and you're also a pet lover. That's
absolutely.
That's thing
absolutely. So I have a golden retriever at home. He is 4.5 years old and his name is Buddy. And he has been our biggest pet actually. When my son moved to US for his studies.
I think they become your second son.
Absolutely.
So that's interesting. So, this is one of the big interviews for me because you're one of the CEOs who didn't talk books. So you talked about the value system that parents give you. You talked about family. Is that bottom line to you always?
Absolutely.
You keep life simple, don't you?
I try to keep it as far as possible. But certainly, for me, leadership is all about energy plus direction. If you ask me what's the definition of leadership, energy plus direction. As a CEO, also saying, when you are a leader, your face doesn't belong to you. So better you keep your smile always. So if you want to keep that, your energy at the end of the day has to be same as what you started the day. So this 2 hours of my
time,
physical walking, workout, thinking helps me to manage things.
No, this is one of the most delightful experiences for me in an interview. Thanks for your honesty and I've enjoyed it. All the best to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.